Hello, lovely people of the internet. My name is Allard, and welcome back to the bonus episodes of Firewatch. Almost want to say Back Firewall because that's the other series I just finished the last recordings of, so that's really engraved in my mind. But no, Firewatch. So in this episode, you'll have another couple clips from me playing through the Audiotour Firewatch, reacting to some of the cool things you learn in the game when the developers are able to explain it to you further. There are some pieces that I go off on quite a tangent, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. All right, hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you have any opinions on this format or on this video in general, then please leave a comment. That helps me out. I like to connect with you guys, so yeah, let me know. All right, enjoy. And there's the next one, near the campsite of the teens. Who wrecked the camp? I mean, I'm guessing it's Ned then.
Hey, it's Sean.
And Chris. Hey, Sean.
So we are at the teens camp that has been destroyed, ransacked, rummaged, torn apart.
Yeah.
And I know you had some confusion over this, Chris.
I did. I didn't realize I had confusion. So I was the person who did all the gameplay, wiring, logic, hookup stuff for this scene. And the entire time I was doing it, I, for some reason, was under the mistaken impression that it was a bear that destroyed this camp. I, for some reason, had convinced myself that, oh, Goodwin was sort of involved in framing Henry for teen stuff, but also just separately and coincidentally, a bear just like blasted through here and tore up the tent. And I think I didn't realize until the game was almost done that that was not the case.
And I think that's one of the challenges of making a game like this, and where we're telling a story that doesn't explicitly call out why everything is happening. I think, me personally, and I think you agree with me, Chris, because we talk about movies and stories a lot, I really find it obnoxious when a story goes out of its way to explain everything and handhold you through the plot of the story. Ultimately, you, the player, may have thought it doesn't really matter to you whether it was a Goodwin or a bear, because it's doing all the things on an emotional level that it needs to do as a scene, which is stress you out, realize there's danger, and create the fact that the teens feel like it was you. Like, you just know it's not you, so that's
Right.
what works here.
Or
as
you may have correctly intuited what happened, and that's also good.
Yeah, Goodwin sets out to cause you distress and frame you for acts of violence such as this.
By inflaming the already existing tension between you and these teens.
Exactly right. Because he just wants you out of here. You entered that cave on your first day, and he knows what's in the bottom of it, and
Sort of doesn't want you to.
yeah, trips a trigger for him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right.
They make a very interesting point here, and that's about holding the player's hand in explaining what is happening. I have a little bit of a controversial opinion that I don't mind hand holding. That's mostly because, well, there's a big chance that I have ADHD. I have a diagnosis day somewhere in May, if I remember correctly. If it is the ADHD, that I don't know what is. But anyways, even if it isn't ADHD, I just noticed that some details just go over my head, or I can't link them up automatically in my head. So the game being a little bit more straightforward about what it is you're seeing or what it implies. That's why I like watching Let's Players. Not me then, I guess. But that's why I like watching Let's Players that are like of the really that love paying attention to the game. I also love paying attention, but if I had to sit through and figure out every little detail, my Let's Plays would double or quadruple in length, basically. Just sitting here like, okay, we have a campfire. What does it mean? But some Let's Players just like, they look at it and they're like, oh, but that means that this and that happened. That's not me, so I don't mind a little bit of hand holding. On the other hand, that's also kind of why I like. I've already seen it a bit happening in the YouTube comments. That's why I like uploading these Let's Play videos, because it allows me to have a genuine experience, and then for other people to comment, either at the end of the, at the end of the Let's Play, and be like, hey, you can also do this and this, or did you see this and that? And I'm like, whoa, that is incredibly cool. I didn't know about that. So I guess in a way it doesn't really matter which choice the developers would have made in this regard. But yeah, if a game is too blatant about it, it does definitely hinder the experience. So I think they found a great, I don't even want to call it the middle ground. They took a stance. They were like, we're not gonna explain shit. You're gonna figure it out on yourself. So yeah, props on the Firewatch team for doing that. Definitely.
He's incredible, caring, sexy as hell. He was a driller down in Casper. We dated for almost 5 years. I was working with the Wyoming Outdoor Leadership School, and I was obsessed with it. I wanted to be an instructor so badly. And I was sure I was going to marry Javier as soon as I could. Hey, you didn't take all of the supply drop food, did you?
Hi, this is Ben again.
And I'm Gabe. I did production and office management on Firewatch. This is day 34, and Ben, how long did it take you before you actually saw this day?
Well, since I'm a good person, I never actually made the choice to steal that food, and did not see it until after we shipped.
So I definitely did. I played through every day hundreds of times.
You did a better job than me, Gabe. I didn't see it until we were submitting the first patch for PS4, when you chose this path, and I was like, what? There's content here that I've never seen?
It's my job, Ben, to show you content that you've never seen.
All right. Hopefully the next game I get to see the whole thing before it goes out.
As long as there's no moral choices in it, you will.
Yeah, that's fair.
For the rest of the summer.
That's cool.
And
What do you have to tell me? Let's see. Well, let's listen.
When Delilah asks you, hey, are you looking at the fire? Most players are just either looking at it or about to pull the trigger and say, or hit shift and scroll to, yeah, I'm looking at it. And she goes, great, and starts talking about the fire. But because we are game developers and we know what you're looking at, if you are just staring at Delilah's tower when she says, hey, are you looking at the fire? Henry, without your input, will go, no, I'm looking at you. And Delilah's response to that, the way Sissy Jones played it, is so perfect. It's surprised and almost like you can feel the one little butterfly in her belly. And
Aww.
I'm just so tickled with it as a moment in the game. I think Jane or someone came up with it and was like, yep, we're doing that. And it was in the game very, very shortly thereafter. So
That's
next time
so
you play
sweet.
64, or if you haven't gotten to that point right now, do that and you will be hopefully as tickled as I was.
That is incredible. Shit, I'll have to go back and do that.
are you looking at the fire?
No, I'm looking at you.
Oh. Well, let me know when you are.
Oh, he's a simpy boy.
Okay.
Oh. Alright, so I was just out exploring on day, which day is it? 67. All the way around. English uses the other way around version of numbers. 76. And I found a turtle. Let's go. Hello, little boy. He's so cute. Oh my god.
Whoa, I found a turtle. Maybe it's a tortoise. It's a thing with a shell.
Well, isn't that something?
It's actually pretty cute.
Pretty cute
Well,
indeed.
Henry, if you decide you want it to keep you company, nobody will mind.
And what do I call it? Looks like a,
Oh, this ought to be good.
Call him Turt Reynolds.
Well, now I can't wait to see him.
The
Oh.
mustache is impressive.
You tell him I love Cannonball Run.
Alright, we're adopting you.
Baseline of the world, and then there are these almost just two chunks just sitting right on top of it.
The world is kind of made of tiles in a way, so we have the option to swap different tiles in and out, and this is a great place to use that technology.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Do you guys see that in the distance? There's a guy T-posing on the mountain? What the fuck? Oh shit. There's a lot more around here. Oh, this is weird. This is very weird. Maintaining skill in level design. Hello, Henry. Where are your clothes at? Where are your clothes at, boy?
Hi, Jake.
Hey Jane, in this garden surrounded by scary mannequins seems like a great place to talk about how you figure out perspective and scale when making a level.
Yeah, so, when you start making a game, one of the first things you need to do is to have scale reference. So, what we did was just to download a bunch of free scale models, actually.
Yep, just some royalty-free, T-posed
Yes.
nude men and women.
I think like the man is just the default ZBrush man.
Before you put in the trees and before you put in the grass and before you put in the rocks, when all you have is terrain, it can look like it's like a 6-foot wide hallway or it's like a quarter-mile wide and you can't even tell in first person, but then once, boop, there's just a little nude man out there.
Yeah.
You really know.
Yeah, how tall is this tree? Oh my gosh, it's actually, it's a really tall tree.
Yeah,
it
well,
looks tiny before you put a scale man.
So there's also, you'll notice there's a collection of different scale men out here. When we first dropped our scale our scale people in, they came in with some default material that was like this glistening onyx stone.
I think the default Unity material back then was just some very glossy black.
Yeah, so we had these just rippling, glistening stone statues, including parts.
Full anatomy.
There were some parts that were very good at catching the light, and I think when Nels was gray boxing,
the bikini parts.
Yeah, Nels was like, I gotta get in real close on some parts of this level, and I just don't know about this. So then the next day when we got latest,
it's very distracting when the gloss material is.
It's debatable though if that's more or less distracting than the jean shorts that were slapped on. It feels to me, Jane, like in early dev, as you got bored, you just kept like festooning the scale man with more stuff.
I think it was one of those times when I was like, is it worth spending 15 minutes to make myself happy?
Yes.
And I was like, yes.
And then
it's
like
worth 15 minutes
maybe
to
some more time to add
this.
some love handles, and then like some heart-shaped chest hair. Who's to say? Who's to say?
15 minutes turned into 30 minutes of fun, and now
Oh man! By the end of the production,
It's
gray
still
box
worth
thing was
it.
really fun, or like you'd know that there was someone was in there working, because you would just see all these like love-handled jorts, Henry chest hair dudes floating all over the place.
I think my favorite parts is also when you've done level designing a space. Sometimes you've lifted the terrain without lifting the scale men. So sometimes once in a while I'm like, why is this area kind of not performing great? And I look under the earth and there's like four
There's just
buried
floating
scale men
dudes.
underneath. They're like,
fine.
oh, thanks, Jake. Delete.
It's fine. Yeah.
Those are my favorite little Jake surprises.
It's good, or like you'll see one off in the sky. Like in this case, there's a couple deliberately way out in the distance, because I wanted people to look at how forced perspective works also. So zoom in on some jorts guys, be happy.
Oh, actually, another note about the scale lady here. She's actually the same model that we use for the teens in the lake.
Oh, that's true.
We just added a ponytail, really.
And sparklers.
That's the only one I can see of in the distance, at least. But that's really cool. That's just a piece of how game development works, I guess, and that's very fun to hear. The fact that they use scale models like this to, to check if all their skills are correct and if everything that they planned for worked out. Awesome. I'm learning so much by playing the game this way. It's a lovely experience. All right, we found ourselves another tape. And a television setup? Whoa! Is this how we walk? Okay, that's a bit weird. Also pretty cool. Animating a first-person character.
Hi, this is Will.
And this is James again.
And if you look around, you should see a TV in front of you with a pretty weird-looking image on it. That is actually what Henry looks like from third person. So you're looking at Henry as we saw him in Unity Editor.
Yeah, Henry is very much sort of an ultimate Cronenberg nightmare. He's got sort of like, we called them the spider bones, where you can stretch his shoulders really far away from his torso. Early on, I remember looking at a GIF with the team of like how Crysis was doing their first-person stuff, and if you looked at it, you could sort of see his spine and neck becoming this mad giraffe creature, and we took that concept and ran with it. So we ended up sort of like almost any animation in the game, if you look at it from outside of the exact angle we want you to, it would completely destroy immersion and you'd be horrified and possibly sick.
Love it. Love it. I mean, I kind of understood already that games work like this, but it's really cool to see it visualized in this way. This is, like, the way they've handled developer commentary in this game is really well done, because it's still in-game, it immediately shows, like, it's very visual, so it immediately shows, okay, this is how it works then, in the game you just finished. And that's such a smart way of doing it. I love it. Oh, we got our turtle. Oh my god. He is cute as ever. I can drop/throw him? Oh my god, that would be sad. I'll put you back. There you go. Hang out there.
And I think with like 10 weeks left in development, maybe even less, it was a very short runway. I went to Jane and Jake and I was like, I think we have to move Cottonwood Creek back.
Oh shit.
And then Beads of Sweat appeared, and then they thought about it for a second and went, yeah, okay, I think it's not going to be that big of a deal. Because I had already been like, it's not going to be that big of a deal. We can just. And it was fine.
It turns out that what it took was me literally picking up the cash box by the lake and the cash box by Cottonwood Creek and doing like the little magician like shell game swap, and then I changed the labels on the map.
And it worked.
That's cool that it didn't take too much time, because 10 weeks before shipping is, oh, that's not a big time window. Holy shit. And also something interesting that they said, like, is the core mechanic of the game fun? Implying that walking is the core mechanic of the game, which is kind of true. But, like, it's not even necessarily that walking is the core mechanic of the game. It's more so just the fact that dialogue and story are the core mechanic of the game, and it needs a vessel to be delivered in, and walking for this game is the vessel, because they don't want the player to just, you know, sit here, arms crossed, waiting around for the dialogue to finish. They want the player to work towards something, because that's more engaging, as I see it so far. And thus, having these walking distances in between dialogue means that you can listen to the dialogue while traveling somewhere, which, now having heard about it, is very smart and also very logical, actually. But we are coming up on the next little piece, so let's give it a listen, shall we? On the new radio, you don't have to pick it up. Ooh, well, I haven't picked it up yet.
Hey, it's Sean.
Hey, it's Chris. Here in this Cottonwood Creek area, where you have to get the new walkie-talkie that Delilah has planted for you, or had planted for you, it is possible to just never pick it up in the first place, go straight over to the research site. And that's in part because it's in a game like this where we aren't constraining your movement. There isn't really anything we can do to force the player to walk to a certain place and do a certain thing before going to a different place. We would have to put up some kind of infinite wall or something between you and the research site to stop you just going straight there. And we didn't really want to do that. We thought about it, and we really could not think of a good reason to do so.
Which then meant that the entire research site scene had to be written, had to be bifurcated, and then written to support the new radio versus not having the new radio.
Oh, wow.
And that was really hard. And then had to be like logically programmed to support both of those things. And the way a lot of the branching sort of dialogue stuff works in a game like this, it's not like a choose your own adventure where you go to a different chapter. It's really, the game is looking line by line through the hundreds of lines that it takes for the characters to communicate their stuff while in the research site. It's going line by line and playing the truest one. So
Damn.
a lot of the lines are shared across has new radio versus doesn't have new radio state. It's jumping in between ideas that both hit upon and changing Delilah's response most of the time. And playing through that and finding those spots and writing with that level of detail and branching is really hard. And we would probably find a new way to do it in the future.
Maybe, yeah. You know, it's hard to say. We tried hard to think of a way around it, and we really couldn't. And it affected everything. It affected writing. Here's a weird one. It affected music, because if you go all the way to the research site without getting the new radio, you know, typically when you have the new radio and you go into the research site, there's this music that kicks in. What if you go to the research site without getting the new radio, not because you were intending to skip that part of the game, but because you just wanted to go check it out, to doing the video game exhaustive thing of like, I'm going to check every place before I do the thing, but I'm going to go back and get the radio and then do it. How do we read your intent? How do we as the designers know I'm intending to skip that part of the game? I'm not intending. Do I start the music cue? Do I not? There were a lot of different areas where we had to just take our best guess basically about, well, if this and this and this, but not that, like, we think this is what the player means to do, and we're going to support that. And that was just something that we constantly had to live with throughout development.
Let's listen to this one while we walk towards the camp.
Hey, Jake.
Hey, Chris.
So over the course of Firewatch's development, we, I think, swung back and forth pretty wildly in terms of how much we wanted to play up the conspiracy part of the story and how explicit we wanted to make Goodwin's involvement, and how much we wanted the player to buy into it versus how much we wanted the player to think this was sort of all in Henry's head or played up between Henry and Delilah. And the research site was really the moment in the game where
there's definitive proof something is happening, whatever it is.
We obviously knew as the developers of the game that the reality of the situation was a little bit sadder and more mundane. I think we kind of wanted there to be this big moment that suggests, oh, maybe this is something really huge.
Yeah,
I think we got carried away a little bit.
Yeah, I think we arguably / probably did. And thinking back to it now, the reason that the type reports came into the story at all, as you said about the pendulum going back and forth, I think we didn't like the story being 100% ambiguous. I don't know if we knew that we could support a world where Henry and the player and Delilah 100% construct a reality that doesn't have a single shred of proof, and we're like, okay, well, we got excited about maybe it's the 70s conspiracy moment of like, you know, you're in a room full of warring machines.
I think we on the team kind of hyped ourselves up in the same way Henry and Delilah do. I mean, I remember when I first the first draft of the music that you're hearing right now, I showed it to you only, I think, because I felt too stupid to show it to anyone else, because I'm like, this is so ridiculous. We can't put this in our game.
Well, the one with
you were like, oh, maybe we should put it in our game.
I don't know. Henry's going nuts. Everyone's going nuts.
It's true. We're all going nuts.
Maybe it could have been pulled back a little bit on all fronts from what you're observing right now, but maybe it's the best. Maybe it's for the best.
Could be.
I personally think this whole setup is perfectly executed, actually, because it just amplifies the anxiety that the protagonist is feeling, that Henry is feeling, you know? The whole music, the fact that it's currently dark out, this weird research site, all those factors add up, and it just makes you feel on edge, which is what Henry is feeling. So that's a really smart way to actually help you understand what the character is currently experiencing, which props to them. Well, this is very well executed. I know when I was first, like during the original Let's Play, I think episode 9 that was, or yeah, probably episode 9, I was scared shitless at this point. Like, I felt very uncomfortable, which is what Henry also felt. So I'd say that you know, that worked out perfectly. What's a bug-out bag?
Nels, it's the spooky nighttime scene.
So spooky. Impossibly spooky.
Coming up with this scene was funny because the bag that is in the little grove here is known, I think, definitely internally, I don't know if this is in the game, but as the bug-out bag.
Oh, it is definitely the bug-out bag. This is what actual hardcore survivalists call their, oh man, if the nukes hit New York City, I can grab my 2 bug out bags. They're in my closet, throw them in the back of my pickup, and drive immediately within 12 minutes of the air raid siren or whatever.
Yeah, and it's funny because we wanted it to tell a really sort of a nuanced story that didn't hit you over the head with exposition.
Yes.
And I think the bug out bag is probably a little confusing.
It might have been a bit too nuanced.
It's definitely confusing upon first discovery. This is Ned Goodwin's bug out bag,
Yes.
which is the heat's getting too close. I've gone too deep. This Henry and Delilah charade, and I'm gonna have to leave really soon.
Yeah.
So if Henry gets too close, I'm just rappelling down, scurrying over to get this bag, and I'm out. And I might as well wire it to a battery for the effort. So if it gets discovered, I know that it's gone.
Exactly.
I don't get led into a trap.
And this is things that, like, actual, weirdo hermit people that live in the woods. Like, this is actually a thing that they'll have. They'll have, like, their main campsite, but then if their main campsite is discovered, they have, like, another second supply cache where they can just grab their stuff and disappear. And it just happened to be that Goodwin, for sentimental or other reasons, was keeping the key to the cave on this backpack. He didn't like in any way leave it for Henry intentionally. It just happened to be that the weird electronics on it also got picked up by the wave receiver, and then what was meant to be like Goodwin's safety net backup thing is actually what is his ultimate undoing.
Yeah, and there's an article in a GQ magazine that I think you'll probably be talking about later, Nels, written by a reporter named Michael Finkel about this hermit who lived in Maine.
Christopher Thomas Knight.
It's a wonderful, wonderful long read. You can find it online. Again, it's GQ magazine, and I plumbed this thing for inspiration for Goodwin and how he would set up his camp and what he would do if he thought he was going to get caught. And it was an idea that I know went into my notebook upon reading this article. It's really great, and it's really wonderful reporting from Michael Finkel.
Interesting. So, during my main playthrough, I figured that this was placed by Ned to mess with me, to fuck me over, basically. But obviously, now looking back, what would he gain from this interaction?
Shit!
Like,
What?
Like, he wouldn't gain anything from this because I steal his backpack, and he would lose his backpack. Like, there's no win situation for him here. So this is indeed his bug out backpack. Like, this contains all the supplies he needs to get on the move as soon as he can. Interesting. Hey there. Thank you so much for sticking around until the very end. I genuinely hope you enjoyed the episode. I just finished editing basically all the footage I have. So you'll have one more episode to look forward to. And then this little show will be wrapped up. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, you know, whatever everybody else says. It helps me out a ton, to be honest. Again, it shows me that you enjoy the content, want to see more of it, and that the time that I put in is worthwhile. So yeah, thank you so much for watching once again, and see you in the last episode. Bye.